Good morning, Tania.
Good morning.
How's it going?
It's going great this morning.
Everybody asleep this morning. Good morning, Liberty. We're going to get started on time. Good morning, Miss Benitra. Good morning, Patience.
Good morning, Janelle.
You sound excited this morning. How are you?
Girl, I'm good. Are we doing our smiling and dialing today?
Absolutely. You ready?
I'm ready, girl.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good.
I'm up today. I got my coffee. I made the kids breakfast this morning.
Get it, girl.
I'm
You,
feeling all domestic and
I
stuff.
see. You sound better. I'm loving it.
Okay.
Good morning, Tasha.
Good morning, Janelle. Good morning, ladies of CR Elite.
Good
Tasha
morning,
always
Miss
sounds so professional. I love it.
She can't get that HR out of her, baby. That's love it. I love
Uh,
it.
Yeah, crazy.
So I think so look, Janelle, I went and I went in dot loop and I just submitted my dot loop for review, right? After I do that, then I go into broker sumo, right?
Yes, ma'am. That's what you do. Uh huh.
Okay, cool. I got it now.
Did you add your checklist and then make sure you had all your documents on your checklist? I hate to send it back to you.
Let me see. Let me add it. So when I do the checklist, all I do is go to add document, go to templates, and then click on the checklist for that particular thing and add it to it, right?
So yeah, so you're gonna add the checklist to your document, and then you have to put initials on your document on the checklist to say that you, in order to get past it.
Oh, I didn't know that part.
Hey,
Wow.
Janelle, I have a question with Patience just asked. So my last two that I submitted, I didn't have to go on Broker Sumo. Everything that I submitted went over to Broker Sumo correctly, and it just did everything for me.
It takes me a minute to hit this button, y'all. I'm sorry. Okay, so if you add the documents correctly, so if you add the address, you add the all the information in your loop the first time. So go to Broker Sumo already, and then you can create your disbursement, or you can ask me to create your disbursement. That's up to you. But you have to fill it out with the address of the property, and all of it has to be triggered. So Shannon sent you guys a document that showed you all of the stuff that it takes to trigger it to actually go over to Broker Sumo. If you do all of that, you don't have to send it. You are correct, Tasha.
Do it take a little while for it to go to broker sumo or it goes right away?
It goes right away.
Okay.
Good morning, Miss Diamond.
Good
Good,
morning.
good morning, Shay. Um,
Good morning.
speaking of Broker Sumo. Diamond, when we get while we're smiling, darling, I'll get the rest of them out there. Okay.
Okay, no problem. I'll see you guys soon.
Oh, everybody's smiling and dialing today. I love it.
You got on them, coach.
Good morning, Andre. Good morning, May.
Your fussing wasn't in vain yesterday.
I wasn't even trying
Good
to fuss
morning.
today. I want all of y'all to be successful. So
I, I be in,
Good
coach.
morning, everyone.
I be in, coach.
good deal, good deal. I don't want nobody to be left behind, get in trouble. We're gonna make some money. So it was not meant to be fussing, guys. I promise.
Yadira said, I'm going to Smile and Dial at 4 today. I said, okay. So they hear you. They hear you.
Okay, guys, we're going to be talking about hiring a VA today. We're going to be scripting and role playing some conversations. Raiden, I know I was picking on her today, but me and her are going to go back and forth. Reason why is everybody gets to a level of frustration in their business, right? And so our immediate thought and our immediate move is to bring someone in to help us with our mess. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is how when we should hire a VA, what kind of conversations we should have with our VA, and what expectations we should have with our VA. And are we really ready for what we think we're ready for? So, should we do some more time blocking? Should we do less busy work? Or is our business really ready for us to hire our first, to make our first hire, which is always an assistant? So, for the people who are new and don't understand what VA stands for, VA is a virtual assistant. So me and Ray are going to script and role play, just based on questions, because even when we started coaching together, uh, she was like, "Okay, I need some help," right? And so I had to sit down and say, "Okay, let's go through some steps to figure out if you need this, and is it better to hire a physical assistant in your office, or is it better to have a VA?" And a lot other mistake that we make sometimes with hiring a VA is we elect them to do the work that we should be doing. So is some activities that an assistant should do, and then there's some activities that we don't want to do, but we should be doing as well. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to hopefully this helps you guys so that when you are ready to hire someone or make your first hire, you know exactly when you should do it and how you should do it. Is that fair?
Hmm.
Good morning, Miss Nikita.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me up.
No problem. Okay, so a virtual assistant is pretty crucial and can help us with a lot of things in our business. So I like to divide it in the 80-20. This is what you should always think about when you get ready to hire someone. Every day, your schedule should be based on 80-20. 80% of your schedule can be leveraged to a person or a system. And 20% of your schedule should be your big rocks. Those are things that you do yourself and no one else can do for you. So, who can give me some examples of the 80%?
I, you said 80% is what the VA should do.
80% is yes, is leverage. What I can leverage off to someone else,
Uh,
my busy work. And my 20% are my big rocks. So, who can give me the 80% that we should be leveraging off? Give me some examples.
Following up
Social.
with contracts that's under with contract that's under contract, making sure
Very
the paperwork is turned in.
That's very good, Andre, because a lot of us work on money we already made. And so that's a statement that I make all the time. If we have got the property under contract and it's an execution date, we have made that money. We can consider it made, right? So we will sit and babysit paper all day long. And then what happens is when that deal closes, we don't have anything else in the pipeline going because we've babysitted a deal forever. Everything from the time that property gets an execution date on it, we can leverage off to a system or we can leverage off to a person. I'll give you some examples. You can hire a transaction coordinator who will take that thing from contract to close. So when we get to negotiating the repairs, If you find a licensed one, they can do all of that stuff and for you all the way to getting to the closing table, ordering your closing gift. If you don't have a transaction coordinator, you can actually automate that. You can set a certain amount of emails to let the client know where we are in this process. And then all we have to do is make one phone call. Okay, we need to make the negotiation phone call and we need to make the call to say, hey, we're going to close it on this day. So again, 90% of that can be automated. So we have to set our systems up to be successful, not to fail. What are some other things that we can leverage on?
Social media.
Say it again. I'm sorry, I missed that.
Social media.
Very good. We do not have to sit there and physically post all our posts. We could actually use content planners, right? Which is actually a system.
Showings.
Showing property. Do we actually have to be the person to show the property? Um, if we have got the client and we've done our consultation, we have built the rapport and we have set the standard of our business to say, hey, I have a team member who's going to help me to make sure that you don't miss out on any opportunity to get your property showed. I'm going to have Janelle show a property for you. Model 113. What else can we do?
Can we get the VA to do cold calling for us?
Okay, I knew eventually it was going to come up, right? All right. So let's talk about that. Should we get our VA to make our cold calls, or should we be making our cold calls? Is that lead generation? Is that part of our 20%, or is that the VA's job?
You said we can use our VA for that, to help set appointments. But only after we know what we're doing.
I did say that. I did say that. Right. So the first thing that you should do is to make sure that you know how to do the job. Why is that important, Benicia? Why did I say that?
So that we can know if they're doing their job correctly.
Absolutely, right? We got to know calls to know that they're doing it correctly. But we have to find a VA that has a special niche. They cannot just be VAs, because what does a virtual assistant truly do?
They should do
What
a
what
little
do
bit
they
of
what is
everything
their,
to assist you.
I'm listening.
You ask what they do. They supposed
It
to
does.
assist you whenever you need.
No, they don't assist you with whatever you need. So I want you guys to be real clear on what a VA actually do. So it's a lot of things we need, like making phone calls, right? If they do not
Mhm.
have the niche of being an ISA, which is a inside sales service or outside sales associate, they do not make that. Them making phone calls would not help you. They're not skilled to do that. What skill do you need to have making phone calls for you? Can anyone tell me what's the skill that you will need for a person to be able to make your cold calls for you?
Overcoming objections, which is scripted, knowing your scripts.
They definitely need to be scripted. They have to have the sales formula. So if they're only versed to send emails, to send out packages, to schedule your social media, to follow up on your showing appointments, to write contracts, then they will not be good people to be making your phone calls. So that is one of the things that sales agents do, is they hire a VA and think they can do everything. So then we go months in and they're not making any appointments for you, and you say, oh yeah, this VA doesn't know what they're doing, or they don't sound like they speak English. It's not that. That's not their skill set. So that's the role play we're going to do, because we have to hire the skill set that our business needs. There are some virtual people, some virtual ISAs who make appointments, but they tell you that's exactly what they do. That's their skill set. They actually have American Voice, they know how to follow up. They know how to make those phone calls for you. So there's a program called Opsity who will actually take the leads that you have and you can feed them their leads and then they will continue to unlimited call these leads for you and then they're going to take a 20% return from you. So you can't think that a person who you pay $6 in a foreign country that just says they're a virtual assistant can convert those calls because they don't have that skill set. That makes sense?
Yep.
So Ray, let's role play. So when you got ready to hire your VA the first time when we sat down and said, okay, it's time for you to elect a person in your business. Now first, let me tell you, we said we were going to talk about when was a good time to hire. I would not let Ray hire an assistant. One thing about it, that's the reason why she tell you, I told her she has to make the phone call. Ray could not hire a virtual assistant till she was doing at least 40 deals a year, which is what an average of almost 3 to 4 deals a month. So if you are doing 2 deals a month, or you doing 2 deals every other month, or you closing 1 deal a year, you don't need a virtual assistant. You need a system. So we got to think about that. So when you got ready to hire your VA, script and role play with me, Ray, of what the conversation sounded like. So you call me. I'm going to be the VA. You're the agent. Okay?
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So you're the VA. So when reach out to the VA, I called them and said, hey, so good morning. This is Ray Vaughn with, at the time, Keller Williams Professionals. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
So I'm good. I was looking for a virtual assistant, and there was a few things needed to get done. Do you guys have anyone that specializes?
You're breaking up. Start over. Start again.
This is somebody's calling me. Hold on. All right. I was reaching out to you guys to look because I'm in need of a virtual assistant. Do you guys have anyone that's specialized in phone calls?
Uh, Describe the phone calls for me. Sometimes we do, but is there certain phone calls that we do make? So tell me what phone calls do you actually need?
For a few different things. I'm looking for one, a person that could do cold calling, something like circles prospecting, where they call random people in a neighborhood to look for sellers. And I'm also looking for someone to call leads that I have that I purchased myself.
Yes, we actually do.
Okay, so how does your system, how does your process work? How do you determine what DA you're going to assign to me?
So we actually assign them according to the amount of phone calls that you want us to make. And then if you're not satisfied with the VA, we have VAs that sound just like they speak English. They're very versed in typing and following up with the appointments until we get a sale. But it also depends on what area that they're calling or how warm the lead is. So we'll find a person according to your needs, and if they don't work, then we'll find you a new person.
Okay, great. Now, is there an interview process where I can pick who my virtual assistant is going to be?
I mean, what do you mean by interview process?
Well, I want to make sure that the VA sounds as if they were from America, and I also want to make sure that they know how to script.
Okay. So yeah, we can have someone sit down and talk with you, and they can do a practice phone call with you. Is that what you're needing?
That's what I need. What I actually can do is if I send you guys a script, we don't necessarily have to sit down the first time. If they can record themselves practicing that script or showing me how they're going to say that script, I can go off of that as well.
Awesome. Okay, so what we'll do is if you can send it to us, we'll send it back to you, the video and the recording, and then when can we follow up with you to see if we are able to help you with your business?
So I actually have one more thing. So I actually need a few other things done. I don't know if you have a virtual assistant that actually can do phone calls as well as help me out with my systems as far as my CRM and
Yes, so that is one thing that we do actually specialize in building systems for real estate agents. So we will load your CRM. We will also get your calendar up to date. We will also follow up on your follow-up schedule if you actually use your pipeline. So we do pipeline management, we do database management, and we also implement a system to do your social media management as well.
Okay. Now, who will be doing the training? Will I have to train this VA, or are you guys training them?
So you would definitely have to train the VA. That would not be a good expense on our end, so you would have to train them.
Okay. So how do you know that these VAs are specialized in cold calling, social, and systems? Have you guys trained them in systems before, or what makes you know that these guys specialize in these three categories?
Well, right now they're helping hundreds of agents that they're working with right now, and we can actually show you an example of what they actually do.
Working with, I'm in a bad area, y'all. If they're working with hundreds of agents right now, would that VA be just for me, or will they be working with other agents as well?
So they would actually be working with you as well. It just depends on how many hours you need. So we have a package where you can exclusively have this VA. It might be a little bit more than the other package, but they're definitely going to give you the attention you need. But they will have, just to be able to make this a good use of their time and yours, they're going to be doing several things for other real estate agents as well.
Okay, I just have one more question. So if I decide that I want to do part-time and they true indeed will be working with other agents, will my information be private and confidential, or will they be sharing my leads with other agents?
That's a very good question. And so we always keep your information private and confidential, and they will not be sharing the leads. You're actually going to be feeding us the leads, so you can actually go in and follow up on the leads that you have to make sure that they're not being used by anyone else.
Okay, and just to reiterate, because I'm not sure if you touched on this and I'll be done, do you guys guarantee me anything when it goes to the cold call?
No, we do not make any guarantees. What we can tell you is that if the person that you use is not working out, we will get you someone else, but we cannot make a guarantee.
Okay. Well, can you send me your pricing via email, and I'll send you the script for the agents or for your VAs to go ahead and practice and send me a voice recording, and then we could touch bases next week.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you. I'll send that information right over to you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that is how you should interview a VA. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns before I move on?
Wow, truly amazing. I expect nothing less from greatness. That was amazing.
So
Wow.
we're not. It's truly good, and that's one of the things that Ray is really good at is picking out your skill set, right? And so we have to know first what we need, right? Secondly, we have to know that they possess the skill, and we have to know the results of what we're going to get. So you don't hire a VA without knowing what result you're going to get. So if she just said, well, I can't guarantee you a result, what do we do next? Do we continue to hire them, or do we not? Someone tell me, what do you do other than Ray? Do I hire that person that Ray just talked to?
Well, I would want some credibility on their end, right? So if I'm paying you for a service, I want to receive some reward. So I should be dishing out a lot of money and not getting anything back. And it would be 100% my fault because they told me up front.
That's very good, Andre. That's very good. So if I did not set an expectation for my business, even after the call, then I cannot be upset with what I received because I did receive consistency. They did do the work, right? But I was looking to have 2 appointments a week. So if I don't never make a determination in the beginning of what I actually want and the end result, I really don't know if I'm getting my money's worth and how long do I stay in that position before I've just dumped a bunch of money and then at the end of the day it's still my problem. So do we hire the person that Ray talked to, or do we dig a little deeper? Do we go and continue to call VAs, or is there actually that's the same? The VAs are the same all the way around. It's just that we have to know um, our business at the end. What's the conclusion after I talk to Ray?
I'm gonna make some more phone calls to other VAs and see what is normal, what's the going rate. Ask people who are using VAs and dig a little deeper.
Okay. Who else? Would you hire me? Would any of you hire me?
No.
So in actuality, we have a lot of people who have assistants that they didn't even ask those questions to, but they do have the same skill set that I have. So we hire people and we put them in position, but we really don't know that they can actually do the job that we need them to do because we actually don't have a job for them to do. We just know that we're busy, we're frustrated, and we need help. And that's not the right way to hire a VA. So, how much business do you need to have in order to make your first hire? Who feels like they're ready for their first hire, which is an assistant?
I personally think that a lot of times the people that are ready to hire assistants are the ones that's scared to hire. And the ones that don't need to hire are the ones that end up hiring. So personally, I followed Gary Keller's plan just because Janelle just decided to make me follow Gary Keller's plan. So, in all naturality, you have to make $4 million in order to even hire anybody. But to me personally, that's not enough, right? Because $4 million is really 120,000. So if you are only making $120,000 and you hire a assistant to do something for you, you're cutting into your amount. So me personally, my answer always was is how much is enough for me to make that I'm comfortable with making before I can pass on some of my money to somebody else. If you're not comfortable with $120,000 being, 25 or 30,000 of it being taken away from you, if you can't live with that, then you need to hold off before you hire somebody. Because what people do tend to do is when they're not making enough money to pay their bills, they end up firing the other person when they shouldn't have hired them from the beginning. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. That's exactly right, right. And so I like to put, me and Andre are real big at numbers, right? So I like to make it make sense. So Ray says if you sold $4 million in real estate, you made $120,000. To spend 30% of your income on salary. So 30% of 120 is 36,000, which leaves you with 84,000 to live on. How many of people would be able to do that? And actually, the 84 you don't live on, according to the economic model, which it makes sense. It's always been the basis of real estate and how we do our hiring and our firing. 30% goes to your salary, 20% goes to your expenses and your marketing, and then you have another 10 to 20% that goes to your taxes. So really, how much money do you have left over if you made $120,000? Anybody?
I mean, you're at less than 50%. Less than 50%. So really, you don't even have the money to pay your bills if you live a certain way.
Right. So you made $120,000, but you're living on $60,000, and you're going to, out of scarcity, fire that person. But let me tell you what that looks like as a business owner. So I took someone and I gave them a job. They have a
This
family.
is
They may
ridiculous.
have children. They may have rent to pay. They may have a car note to pay. And because I can't pay my own bills, the first thing I do is fire them. So I've taken them out of the workforce and put them in a position, and then I take it from them. So you technically should have someone's salary in a bank account before you actually hire them. So if you use the economic model and use Gary Keller's version, you should have the $36,000 in the bank before you hire them. Well, if you only make $120,000 a year and you still have 20% other expenses that you have to pay, will you ever have $36,000 in the bank to pay someone to help? How long will it take you to get there? That's what I want you to think about. So one of the beauties of hiring a virtual assistant is that they're very inexpensive. So you can pay them anywhere between $6 to $10 an hour. You you can pay them. You don't have to sign a long-term contract with them. You're not taking them from the workforce of anything, but they should be used for minimal activities like the busy work. Not putting your business in their hands by making cold calls, because that's what makes your business grow. So in order for you to be able to move from 4 deals to 20 deals a month, you're going to have to make those phone calls. Does that make sense? How many people agree or disagree with me?
I
That's
agree. Agree.
I agree.
I think another thing, just to add that for me, for virtual assistant, is that a virtual assistant, no matter how many I went through, and Janelle know I went through a lot, none of them helped my business until I changed my mindset, right? So I had to make sure that I had set expectations in the beginning, and I had to make sure that I trained them to my best ability so that they operate in the realm of whatever I had them doing, just as if I was to operate or better, in the areas that I didn't like doing things. But until I changed that mindset, I really just wasted money on virtual assistants.
Yeah, that's a very good point, and I was going to I'm glad you reminded me. I was going to bring that up because you asked me that question. You say, do I have to train them or you're going to train them? There's really no way for a company that's overseas and out of your office and out of your business to train someone to do something you need them to do. Every real estate agent's business has the major components, but they run it differently, right? So if Andre and Ray had the same virtual assistant, Andre does not need the same thing that Ray needs. Tasha does not need the same thing in her business that Rayvon needs because Tasha deals with the average buyer and seller, right? So we're all going to need something different. So you got to be able to train them how to run your business. Now, what if you're not really running a business? What if you wake up every single day and you get up at about 9 o'clock after you've had coffee, got the kids off to school, and you decide what you do every day from that point on? You don't own a real estate business. You just have a real estate license. You should have a time blocking schedule. You should be lead generating. You should know what your week looks like on Sunday, and you can actually forecast your calendar for a whole month. So if you're waking up deciding what you're going to do that day, and you go to the office and you learn something, and then you go to the kids' school and you go on a field trip, and you go take a class at the title company, you are not a real estate agent. That is not a real estate business. That's just a person with a license. But if you get up and you lead generate and you know that you're going on appointments with your vendors, with your clients, and you're going to showings at night and you're going to network, and if you met 20 new people that you did not know before, and you've told people online, in person, by text, and by email that you sell real estate and you have an item of value to help them get into a home, that's a real estate business. That's the person who actually needs an assistant, because that's the person who is consistently, over a 6-month period of time, close 4 to 5 deals a month. That's $4 million worth of business. So if you're not consistently over 6 months, we're not going to talk about what you've done in your whole real estate career. If I cannot look at your numbers on paper and over 6 months you've done 4 to 5 deals, you don't need an assistant. You need a better business management system. Andre, when you were doing the 4 million, how many sales were you doing a month?
When I did a 4.million per
Yeah,
month, uh,
before you came to CRA Elite, you were doing
so
4
before,
million, right?
right. So before I came to CR Elite and you guys educated me and uplift the brand, I was looking at maybe 3 or 4 deals per month.
Okay, and you
Yeah.
did those by yourself, right?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how I did that.
No, you did it because that's the way it's supposed to go. So you were doing 3 to 4 deals a month with no assistant, no help, and working a full-time job, working 12 hours a day.
Full-time job, kids, wife,
Yes.
yeah, everything.
So if you're closing 1 deal a month, 2 deals a month, you don't need an assistant. It's not time to hire. It's time for you to organize your business and build it and run it as a true business. That's you working in your business more than you're working on your business. It's possible for you to do everything you need to do if you're not closing an average of 5 deals or more. And I know that sounds really harsh because we want to buy time, right? But we got to do the right thing with the time. So then I want you to ask yourself, if you still don't agree with me and you truly want to make this higher, if the person is doing everything that you're supposed to do and you don't have any deals to go after, you don't have any clients that you're showing, what would you be doing with that extra time? I want someone to answer that question for me. If you're considering hiring an assistant and you're not closing an average of 5 deals or more, this assistant is going to take off all of the busy work for you. So what would you be doing with your time at that time?
I say still lead generate, right? Still.
So if we're lead generating, we should definitely be on, if we were lead generating the right way, we definitely should be on path to closing 5 deals or more. And that's the thing that we tell ourselves, right? We say, okay, if I can get these people to send an email, if I can get these people to schedule my appointments, and I can get these people to do these things, then I have more time to lead generate. But actually, without the discipline, it don't matter how many people you put in your business, how many people you hire, you're still not going to lead generate. But a lot of times, people, there's a
I,
poor problem. There's a, go ahead, who's that talking? Go ahead, Tasha.
it, it,
A lot of
it's
times,
okay,
people,
Janelle. Go ahead. Sorry.
it's a lot of times that people will say that VAs are not worth the money, that they have to go through a whole bunch of VAs. But it could be that you didn't set them up for success. So how would what's the right thing to do to set my VA up for success? How many people on here have a virtual assistant? Okay, so that may be one of the reasons why you guys are on here. How many people have an assistant on here?
I have help. I do have help, but I know what you're saying, and I'm not consistently doing the 4 to 5 deals a month like what you said. I'm getting there with building my funnel and my pipeline and things like that. But I will tell you that when uh, I get the help, like for instance, if I'm out showing houses, I'm driving and things like that, and somebody sends me a text, and I send that text uh, to somebody to help me go schedule those appointments real quick. Those appointments are set for me to go see those. She's helping me set the appointment for me to see those homes, show those homes afterwards, which I can't do while I'm driving, or something like that. So it did help with some relief. Now I'm not paying for those services necessarily right now, but I could see how it could be beneficial. Although I do understand what you're saying, like it's not yet justified financially for me to get to that point. Now, I am time blocking, but in some cases, if I'm showing homes, I don't want to be setting appointments while I'm at the showing and so on and so forth. I'm trying to give undivided attention, take notes, so I don't waste my time with showing properties that don't meet that criteria that change while we're in a showing. So it's just little things like that where I could see some assistance being helpful. Any suggestions?
Can I offer you some coaching around that?
That's fine. I'll be there today.
Okay. So I'm gonna help you, and I'm gonna help everybody else online. So what we have in that situation is we didn't set the buyer or up for success, right? So I teach you guys all the time that you should elect your buyer in the process. Give them some homework. There's so many times that we will send a list of property to a person, and we say, hey, okay, I'll meet you at 123 Main Street tomorrow. They have not seen 1-2 Main Street besides online. So we travel across town. We show it to them. As soon as we pull up, they say, "Oh man, I don't like that house. It got them neighbors don't even cut their grass. Those houses are way too close to each other." But had we set them up for success and say, "Hey, might want to drive past these houses that you're choosing." Now the market is really, really aggressive, so you may want to do this right now. As soon as you see it, you want to take out some time in your schedule. You want to drive through these neighborhoods. So they can call you before you schedule these appointments and say, hey, I went by that house. I really didn't like it. I mean, I liked it online, but I really don't like it outside. It saves you time and them time. So we have to set our clients up for success. And if we're in a showing and we're showing houses, we do not have to walk every room with them. This should be your model. You don't have to do it this way, but this would be my model. I would go into a home. I've already looked online. I can tell where the rooms are. So when I walk in with a client, I say, you know what? The bedrooms is upstairs. The master is on the left. You guys, you go ahead, enjoy your time, look around, come downstairs, and I will be down here scheduling our next appointment so we can get where we're going. They can look by themselves. You don't have to walk every room with them. And then they come downstairs, and I'm already set to go to my next place. If I did not schedule all of my appointments before we left the office and went on our first appointment, we should always show at least 5 houses at a time, especially in this market, right? Because if we don't get the one, then we can get 3 of the other ones. So I'm sending them 10 houses at a time. I'm showing them their top 5. We're going to start at the one they like the most, and we're going to write an offer that we maximize our time. So that, again, it's about the organization of that process that we can actually do, and we don't have to pay anybody to do anything. So I hope that helps someone because
Yeah,
it.
Janelle, I was just going to say in my scenario, I was referring to another buyer. When I go out, I have a map of where I'm going. And this may have been just you giving a heads up to everybody. But when I go out and show houses, I am showing 4, 5, 6 at a time sometimes just because I don't want to waste time. And oftentimes my houses are on the other side of town. So I have a map of where I'm going. I've laid it out. I'm doing this. I was referring to, and I may have said it wrong, another buyer texting me about another house. And I do what you're saying too. I ask them to drive by, and sometimes just square footage doesn't make sense while we're in the house. So that's what I was referring to. And you're right, I don't walk each room with them. So I may have to, I'll take your, I just wanted to tell you that, but I still would definitely enjoy some of your time to get coaching around that. Thank you.
You're welcome. So does anyone else have this issue, looking to hire a VA, wondering if this is the right time, or have an assistant in their office right now? I heard you say, Naisha, you say you have an assistant. Who's looking to?
Janelle, I'm struggling this morning, but yes, I do have an assistant. And I've been through my own struggles with my assistant, and I've had to learn, kind of like you were saying, like I was ready to toss my hands up at my assistant. I was like, why isn't she grasping it? Why doesn't she understand when I tell her something? I'm like, hey, this is how I want you to follow through. This is what I want you to do, blah, blah, blah. And she couldn't grasp it. And I was like, okay, pause, Naisha. Is there something that you're doing that isn't translating? Are you really setting her up for success? Did you train her well? Did you give her instructions? And I had to look at myself and say, okay, well, no, I don't think I did. I think I could do better at this. So I actually made a guide, or I'm working on a guide right now that kind of tells her, like, hey, this is what I want you to do when we get a lead. And this is what I want you to do when ... or whatever the case may be. And it's gone really better because of that. So I think that setting up your assistant for success is the best way to get to the next step.
So, and I'm glad that you were able to have that experience. So I want to ask you a few questions. So it wasn't until you put a system in place and a process in place for her to be able to operate at her highest level. Is that true?
That's absolutely right.
So what we have to understand is that we cannot just throw tasks at an assistant, whether they're virtual or in your office, if we don't have it all mapped out together. We can't just throw them a task that gets on our nerves. We have to have a system in place. That way I can train you on what I need. Having a how-to, having a manual, having a this is what I need will make your assistant more productive.
And we literally, me and you just literally met about this yesterday, like in our coaching session, and I literally brought my assistant more so because of that, because I started to feel like I was just throwing stuff on her. And
Right. And so, and yes, did that. It took us how long, Charlie? About an hour and a half. I think it took us like an hour and a half. But he brought his assistant with him, and I gave her a process for every action. So I asked him, Charlie, what do you do? What does she need to do? What is her assignment? What is your busy work? And I wrote down a process for every part of his business. Took us about an hour and a half. But she left there feeling empowered, and he left there feeling directed.
Yeah, cause I ain't gonna lie, I was, I felt the bubble coming because it was just like, all right, I'm just throwing stuff on her, but then you, Janelle, gave us a whole better idea and a whole better way of doing it. Like we're using the group me, and I was like, okay, she had a, I can literally feel the weight being lifted off her shoulder because as we going through the whole coaching session, and you saying, okay, this needs to be done, y'all need to do this, you need to do it like this for him, and I can literally see her face.
Yes, yes,
I can feel her energy, feeling like or feeling overwhelmed. So we was like, okay, what can I do or how can I, go about giving her tasks without, overwhelming her or stressing her out to the point where she just ghosts me.
yes.
Cause I've been there
So
before.
right. So one of the issues, one of my things with coaching is I like to ask you where you need help. I don't want to charge you to coach you if I can't empower you. And so one of the things Charlie was saying was that I get people to help me, and I don't know what to do with them, and they just ghost me because I'm giving them a bunch of tasks. So I said, okay, well bring her in. Let's keep this person. If she's skilled enough to do what you need them to do, let's keep this person, but let's set her up for success. And literally in that session, she was like, okay. I gave her permission to have a life, but I also gave her responsibility. She has the time block just as well as he has the time block. She has a certain amount of tasks that has times to it. So she knows she needs to get this done at this time, and this is the process to get that done. Here's what you do every day. Here's step number one. Here's step number two. By the end of the day, this is what a successful day looks like. You are productive if you got all of this done. Now, these are some of the tasks that you can push off for tomorrow. But after leaving that meeting, she set up for success. He doesn't have to worry about her ghosting him. And he can be accountable for her actions. He can know way ahead of time before he spends a lot of money if she can do the job. Because he has a measurement, she has a measurement. That's what you need when you have a client base. And the reason why I'm so big on having a bunch of closings is because you don't know what you need until you have that problem. Right now, your business does not look like the business that needs an assistant. So if you're closing one or two deals, when you get to 4 or 5 deals, you're still going to have an issue because that business looks completely different than a business that's doing one or two. And that's why I'm so big on that. So he has a fluent credit repair business. He has clients. He's losing clients. This is another thing when you know that you have a problem. If you are losing so many clients because you have so many clients that you're working with, then it might be a great time to do a hire. And your first hire is always an assistant. But that's how we determine if or when we need it. Now, if you're doing a lot of work, that does not mean you need an assistant. But if you have a lot of clients and you're losing clients, that's a great time to hire an assistant. So we're at 9:10. I hope this helped you guys in a major way because a lot of us are really overwhelmed with a lot of things that's going on. And if we sit down and evaluate our lives and our business, we'll realize that we're overwhelmed with a lot of busy work that can be leveraged to a system or a person. So do you guys have any questions about the process before we get off the line today? There's no such thing as a dumb question, right? There's no such thing as a bad feeling or a wrong feeling. If you're feeling a certain kind of way or you need some help and some guidance, that's what these hours are for.
Great information.
I think to add what to Janelle said, my phone went dead, y'all, for a second, so probably missed out on something. But the biggest thing that changed me was when Janelle made me set up systems, right? So I'm sure she hit on the fact that you need systems in order to have a good virtual assistant. But when Janelle met me, I was in the process of losing clients, right? Just because I didn't have a CRM set up. I didn't have a lot of stuff set up. And you guys are so much more advanced than me than where I was when I started, because no one was there to teach me any of this when I first started real estate. I also only worked 6 months out the year. I did real estate 6 months out the year. That was it. So the systems that Janelle had me set up allowed me to still stay relevant the other 6 months out the year that I really checked out for a while from going home and going back and forth. And people still knew who I was, and I was able to hop back into real estate as well. So during those 6 months, I still kept a virtual assistant just because I stayed relevant. They just was doing my social media. They were doing, my emails, just reminding them who I was. But because she taught me how to get a showing agent, which was Nicole, and to leverage a lot of things out, I still was able to make money during those 6 months when I decided to check out. So the systems is what you need to put in place first before you go out and hire anybody. And another thing that she taught me, in order for me to take control when you have a team, in order for you to have control of your team and people to respect you and know that that's your team, you have to lead generate. So I never, even when I had a virtual assistant making phone calls, doing mail outs, doing my social media, they were creating business for me, but I never stopped lead generating. She still made me do my door knocking because I love to do it, my open houses, and I made phone calls for 2 hours out of the day. So my team still got leads directly from me. So they didn't feel like, hey, we're doing all the work and you're not doing anything.
Yes, we have to participate in our business at all times. And I know we get over. I'm not gonna say get over. Let me try to find the right word. I know a lot of times when we work in our families, we say, you know what, do as I say, not as I do. But that does not work in a business, right? We have to do it. We have to lead with initiative, and we have to also lead with revenue, guys. Like, we got to set these people up for success. So I ask people when they tell me, oh, I'm going to hire someone to make my phone calls for me. Where are you going to get the leads for them to call? You got to participate in your business, because if they're calling these people and you do not, another thing about having someone else make your phone calls is, if they're calling them and they're building a rapport and they do not know you, you are not marketed, you cannot be seen online, you have never made these phone calls, you haven't touched this client at all, who client is it truly? Is it the person who's
Oh,
making the phone call, or is it your client? Because you can easily get your
my.
client taken from you if you don't have any connection to them.
You preaching this morning, Janelle.
Once you master it, one thing that I probably can outscript the coach. She don't want to admit it, but I probably can. But what she taught me is, when she taught me to take control of the business, was to be able to take control of real estate in general, right? So I'm very confident that I would never, obviously touch any of your clients, but I'm very confident that if I'm outside having a conversation with somebody that, and they didn't tell me they had a real estate agent, they're going to change their mind about their real estate agent, because I'm always in script mode, right? And the only way I was able to get as great as scripting as I am is because even when I was scared, even when they called the news and Gary Keller on me, remember that, I still kept on scripting, and I kept showing up. I was scared. People don't realize that. Like, I'm okay with talking to people in person. I'm not a big phone person. Like, it's very few people I even talk on the phone family wise, right? So it took me literally showing up every day for 2 to 3 hours. I think we did three, from 8 to 11, every single day, for me to get to where I am today and get comfortable with just picking up the phone and calling somebody. But making those phone calls actually changed my life. So I think I was doing like 32 when I met Janelle, right? After I set those systems up, immediately, still only working 6, 7 months a year, I went to 76 houses just from those systems and practicing scripting and role playing. It wasn't until, I think, I don't know how many transactions I was doing, where Janelle was like, okay, you should go ahead, you can go ahead and hire somebody, right? And once I hired that person, I was number one at Keller Williams, most 90% of the time, between me and, another person. So because I set those systems up, because I hired a virtual assistant and gave them expectations, and because I did it the way that I was taught, I was able to be successful in real estate. And it's the reason why I still can close 70 transactions a year and not even doing anything, because of the way that she had me set it up in the past.
And I was just telling Charlie that in a conversation. I was like, this is the very hard part, right? This is the part that nobody likes to do. We do not like to set it up. And we got to set it up. We have to get it to a point where it's, you know what, we really need to think of it like this. And I know this is going to be a hard conversation and people don't like to think of it like this. But if something was to happen to you today, would your business die? Could your business operate without you? It is possible to set your business up systematically that your business will continue to run if you were not there. And that's one of the things that I set Ray's business up to do was because she don't like to work in the summertime. But there's nothing wrong with it. You know why? Because I didn't either. I had a daughter who played basketball. So we all know that basketball season starts in November. That's traditional basketball season. AAU basketball season started in April, and we traveled during the summer. So I went to 5 different states. I probably sat on the benches, and my daughter played anywhere between 50 and 75 games a year. I did not want to work, so I set my business up where it was completely taking care of itself in the summertime. So I was still making money. That's how Ray is still able to run the brokerage. It was still making money, but I didn't have to physically participate in it because the system was doing the work. Your CRM works like Nike. I use it all the time. If you set your CRM up, people believe in their mind that they're seeing and talking to you every day. And literally, it's because they see an email from you, they get a voice drop from you, they get a text message from you, and then they get a video from you, and every now and then they get a phone call from you. You will believe that we're friends. That's what social media does. You guys see people in other states in your family you haven't seen in years, and all of a sudden you think you see them every day. But really, you don't. They posted a picture on social media, and you saw them. You thought you went to the birthday party. You wasn't even there. You thought you went to the baby shower. You thought you were in the room when the baby was being born because they went live, but you really were not there.
Yeah.
So if you set it up right, it'll work right.
And one thing that don't lie is numbers, y'all. We could lie to y'all. Men can lie to y'all, but numbers ain't gonna lie. And I'm gonna stand by that. I'm pretty sure most of y'all. Go ahead.
Women can lie too. Just to let you know, women can lie. Women can
I
lie.
said we. I said
I'm gonna
we.
speak
Women can
up for the
lie.
men. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a
I
minute.
said, I said we, Andre, we can lie too. Women, we can lie, men can lie, but numbers definitely ain't gonna lie. And if you set it up, I'm telling you, and Janelle will tell you, I would show up and I would convince Janelle to do half the work for me when it comes to what I needed to do. But I would probably listen to her only 20% of the time. I would check out. I'm good at checking out of conversations if you guys haven't realized that. And just with those 20, 30% that I got from her, look how successful I became. So if you guys listen to 70% of what she did, you could definitely sell 400 or 500 houses a year. Most of you know I'm at this office all the time, but because the way Janelle set it up, I'm able to run a successful real estate business, and I'm not looking for business. This is only past clients and referrals that we're doing. I was able to sit behind a desk and create a still do a business while I ran a brokerage and create other businesses for me and Janelle. We already done started, getting Airbnbs for people from the beginning. Janelle designs them and we manages them, right? So, and that's all from the comfort of this desk at 1010 Lamar because of the systems that Janelle taught me how to set up and the steps to take.
So if you guys have social media, I want you to go research a girl. I want you to look today and go to Noelle's page. Her name is Noelle Collier, and her company's Noelle um, Collier Group, right? And she made a post yesterday, and she got ready to get into real estate. I had to leave my six-figure sales job, and I was super afraid. And I remember her calling me and saying, "You know what, Janelle? I called Veronica, and she told me to give you a call because I'm just getting out of real estate. I like to wear my Gucci shoes, and I really just like the lifestyle that I live, and I don't think I can do that in real estate." And I said, if you give me 6 months of your time, Noelle, let's do it. We'll set your business up. And I didn't teach her sales because she was already a salesman. I set her business up and I taught her systems. In the first year, she quit her job. I told her to save up 6 months. I taught her how to make her six figures in 6 months instead of making it in a year's time. I said, whatever your salary is, if you do what I say, you're going to make the six figures in 6 months, and I want you to quit. She quit of June of 2019, and she finished the year with 8.9 million in sales. and she believed and trusted the process. But now those same systems, the same basic elementary stuff that we would say that I be teaching you guys is helping her make now 18.9 million in sales. It is helping her get speaking and get arrangements so she can now be on TV. She can now go and be on the news. She can go speak at events, and she's built a team of 5. And it started out with just her and the systems that her and I created for her business at the beginning. So I don't want you to and she trusted the system. She didn't trust me. I'm not a genius. She trusted the basics, the systems. So we don't necessarily always need an assistant. What we need is models and systems. And so, do you guys have any questions? I really, really hope this helped y'all today. Do you guys have any questions? Okay, so we're going to end the class today. Tomorrow, we're going to have a really, really great conversation. For the agents who are coming in the office to make your phone calls, I'm here. I'm ready. We're going to script and role play beforehand. If you want if you want to have this conversation offline, you want to have a private conversation with me, you can reach me by email at Janelle at creeliterealty.com. You can send me a text message to set up to have a phone call, or you can go to my website and set up a consultation for 30 minutes for free, and I will help you with the questions that you have and help you determine if you are ready for a VA or assistant or what system that you are missing in your business. You can also text me at 817-703-9305. We will have boot camp next week, not this week. And if you guys need any help before then, please do not hesitate to call me or reach out in some type of way. I hope to see all of your shining faces at in the office that are with CR Elite Realty. And if you are with another brokerage and you just want to test out phone calls, you just want to see the environment, and you want to come in for a training day, no obligation. Come in, sit with us, learn from us, and grow with us. Other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow if you don't have anything. Have a great day.
Thank you.